So Apple just released iOS 17.4, and with that came one of the biggest iPhone features we've seen in like 5 years, and nobody's talking about it. So here's everything you need to know in like a minute. The big feature is you can now sideload apps on an iPhone. Yes, actually. If you don't know what sideloading means you can basically take any app and any code and run it on your iPhone. Whether it's a random app you downloaded on the internet, something your friend made, doesn't matter. You can now open that and run it as an app. This is something that you've been able to do on Android since day one, and why a lot of people prefer Android. This is a huge deal for 2 reasons. First is this goes very against a lot of the ways that Apple builds their products. The reason they didn't let you do this before, while some people might say it's because Apple's a malicious company, it's really down to security. Despite some people not liking the concept, one of the biggest benefits of a closed ecosystem like Apple is it tends to be very secure by nature. If every app that runs on your iPhone needs to be certified by Apple and go through a rigorous process before it's published on the App Store, that by nature means it's going to be more secure on average than an Android phone per se. This is a very generalized statement. Please don't get over dramatic about it in the comments. And number 2, which is also a huge caveat in this whole thing, this is only happening in the EU, so you're not going to be able to sideload in the US, Canada, or anywhere that's not the EU. This is a big deal because Apple's not doing this willingly. They are being forced to implement this by the EU. This is basically for the same reasons they are forced to use USB-C. Now, there's a whole lot of politics and nuance as to why the EU is doing this, but in short, they're trying to make it so a unique piece of hardware or a unique piece of software can't make it so companies like Apple can monopolize an industry that otherwise people should be able to choose freely in. And even as what most people would consider a huge Apple fanboy, I think this is a fantastic practice and I think it should be pushed very aggressively. Anyway, really intrigued by this for a bunch of reasons. I know one of the main reasons a lot of people don't switch to iPhone, and one of the main arguments behind sticking with Android is the ability to sideload apps. So I'm curious if that's going to change that conversation and narrative at all. Other than that, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. I'll let you know if anything changes. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.
If this is you, you better lower your motherfucking tone when you talking to me.
Hey guys, I just wanted to show you my 2 favorite smart home devices currently. I'm a huge fan of the Aqara U100 smart lock, mostly because it has every smart lock feature, it's affordable, and it's compatible with all the different smart homes. You get a pin pad, a fingerprint reader, and even a manual key backup. And most importantly, it has Apple HomeKit, so you could unlock it with your Apple Wallet. A very close second is the Aqara FP2 presence sensor. It precisely tracks you as you move throughout your home, basically giving you a real-time mini-map of your smart home. And you could use this to seamlessly control devices, like having my workbench light turn on when I walk up to it. I have both of these as well as a bunch of other recommended smart home devices in my bio. Thanks for watching.
So you can actually trigger a shortcut in Apple HomeKit. This is actually how you unlock some of the most advanced smart home automations within HomeKit. But for some reason, Apple kind of hid it away, so not many people know you can do this. So here is how to trigger a shortcut in Apple HomeKit and unlock some crazy automation potential. So to set this up, you're gonna go up to the top here, click plus, and add an automation. Then you're gonna have to figure out how you want to trigger your shortcut, whether that's triggered by another smart home device turning on, or in this case, we're gonna do it when a sensor detects something. Maybe we wanna trigger a shortcut when the thermostat in my bedroom comes above, I don't know, 18 degrees. So whenever the bedroom thermostat goes over 18 degrees. Now, normally you're thinking, oh, I just have to select a smart home device, just like any other automation. But no, again, this is the stupidest way that they've implemented it. You scroll down to the very bottom, and then you have to tap convert to shortcut. Now, what you're doing is triggering a shortcut whenever that sensor detects motion or however else you define it. This is when automations get really exciting because you can use things like if statements to start doing really smart conditional things where you could check a whole bunch of conditions and then only run the automation if it's true, as well as use a whole bunch of other different variables that you don't have access to natively through HomeKit. Doing a bunch of nested if statements like this is how you make like really crazy automations. There is one limitation though, is you can't use shortcuts that interact like really heavily with the outside world and outside apps. Because of Apple HomeKit being a closed ecosystem and being run 100% locally on your network, that means that they really restrict some of the stuff that you could do within shortcuts. Like you can't send text messages and things like that, for example, because they don't want to open up exposure to a possible outside party kind of infiltrating that. But it does work really well. I'd say about 3/4 of my automations go through this and use custom if statements to give them quite a bit more functionality than the native automation setup. That's how you use shortcuts in your HomeKit smart home. Thanks for watching.